Hi there, and welcome to another episode of the French Property Focus podcast. Today, we're going to go back to basics. Firstly, who are French Property Focus and why do we exist? Well, we're a small team of people who have worked in real estate in France for years, worked with a lot of Americans who found the French property system so different from the US and really struggled to navigate it. We're going to talk about some of those differences today. Someone did email me though this week from the UK as they'd watched one of our videos on YouTube, and because our content is aimed at the US market, they asked if it was relevant to them too. Well, if you're from the UK or Canada or Australia or anywhere else and you're looking to buy a property in France, then yes, all the content about how the French system works is relevant to you too. You'll just need to ignore the content about the specific US concepts. That brings me on to what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about there being no MLS in France and what that means for you. So if you're from the UK or anywhere else that's not the US, you could ignore that bit. We're going to talk about duck gizzards, we're going to talk about a statistic that blows people's minds, and we're going to talk about our new memberships. So this week we met up with a lovely American buyer, a very smart lady, owned property in the US in Washington, had heard that there was no MLS in France, but wasn't really sure what that meant for her search. She'd assumed that even though there wasn't one website where you could see everything, that there was some sort of referral network at least. More on that later. So the first thing I'm going to talk about here is gizzards, or in English, gizzards, specifically duck gizzards. It's offal, but an absolute classic delicacy in France. Generally, you would see it as a starter, as part of a salad. It's absolutely delicious. Anyway, we introduced the American bar we met up with this week to gizzards, and although she'd lived and travelled all over the world, she hadn't tried them before. Love them, thankfully. When you come to France, give them a try. They do taste like duck, very meaty, usually slow cooked in duck fat or confit in French. Absolutely delicious. Okay, so back to the French property. What does no MLS mean for you? Well, it definitely means that there isn't one place that you can see all the listings. But even more importantly, there is no standard referral fee between agents. So you might be used to picking your agent, they can access other agents' listings, and they split the fees. That is absolutely not France. So technically, agents can agree to do that. However, in practice, it very rarely happens. It's just not the culture in France. That means that when you deal with an agent, basically you're limited just to their agency's portfolio of properties. If that includes the perfect property for you, amazing. If not, though, it means you'll need to deal with potentially lots of different agents. Let's continue on. So you might expect to sign an agreement with your agent in the US. It might mean that they have some sort of exclusivity to work with you for a period, but it means that they will get paid if you buy. For any agent with listings in France, that just won't happen. And what does that mean for you? Well, it means that they're motivated to try and sell you a property from their portfolio. They're going to be probably 100% commission based. You don't have an exclusivity to them, they're going to have limited time to work with you. If you have an offer accepted on one of their properties, then they'll have time for you to take you all the way through to closing. But by then you've already found something. Sure, if your budget is big enough or the agent has a lot of time on their hands, by the way, that's not a good sign, probably means they're part-time or brand new to the market. They might have more time for you initially to tell you some basics about how the process works in France. They're definitely not going to tell you how everything works though. Why would they give you tips on how best to use the various search websites? They just want you to use their agency website. The other thing about there being no referral fee is that you're looking at multiple regions. The agent you're talking to might not have a presence in the other region. They almost definitely will not have someone to refer you to if that's the case, so you have to start over again. Okay, so then there's the mind-blowing statistic. In France, 40% of property transactions do not involve an estate agent. In the US, the stat I've seen is around 6%. So what does that mean for you? Well, it means that lots of French sellers try and sell their properties direct to avoid agency fees. It means that you'll see very few listings that say exclusive in them. And actually, if they do say exclusive, they might actually be semi-exclusive. That means the seller is working with one agent, but they can still sell privately without paying the agent's fee. often, if you look on one of the bigger aggregator websites, you'll see the same property listed with multiple agencies at different prices because their fees are different, and then maybe also listed directly by the owner at a much lower price because there's no agency fee. So, unless you are hiring an additional agent at your own cost, and I'm going to come on to that shortly, the agency should always be included in the list price you see, the agency fee. You, as the buyer, will always fund that. So the contract between the seller and the agent can be written as though the buyer pays the fee or the seller pays the fee, and there are some consequences to that, but ultimately you, as the buyer, are paying either way. Watch out, because there are a lot of keyboard warriors online on places like Facebook that are going to get this wrong. Don't listen to them. The agency fee is included in the list price, and whatever the contract says, you as the buyer are effectively going to pay for them either way. So what about hiring an additional buyer agent in France? It does exist, but there aren't many people who offer the service. There are two basic scenarios. You can hire someone who hopes to negotiate, or maybe already has negotiated with some other agencies about doing a fee split. That means they can access those properties, and you probably don't pay any extra. You're probably still really limited with what properties you can access though, but you might have to sign some sort of exclusivity with them, so that could be the worst of both worlds for you. The other option is that you sign an agreement with them that you pay their fee entirely and it is additional to any list price. This is more expensive for you, but depending on your circumstances, you might think it's worth it. To put it into context, agency fees in France generally range from about 5% to 10%. So if you pay a buyer agent on top, it might be another 3 to 5%, so you could end up paying more than you think. It is something we will do for a limited number of buyers a year. If you'd be interested for you, fill out the form to apply for free advice on our website and we'll let you know if it could work out. The link is in the description. So where are we at? Well, the most important thing to understand is that things don't work like the US. Whatever budget you're working with, you're probably going to need to work with multiple different agents. It means you're going to need to understand how best to use the websites, and you're going to use multiple of them. If you're thinking, wow, this all sounds just a little bit too exhausting, I'm a bit overwhelmed by how this is so different and how much work I might need to put in, you're not alone. It's how it works. Bear with me, it's going to get slightly more overwhelming for a minute first, but then I'm going to give you some helpful advice on ways that I have helped people before to overcome this. So you might have looked on some of the aggregator websites and be thinking, okay, he's saying that they're not all the listings, but at least if I see listings from one agency on there, it should be all of their listings maybe. Well, probably not. So all of the marketing teams at the real estate agencies, they're trying to attract your attention. And all of these aggregator sites cost different amounts, they change all the time. And so what happens is, for most agencies, they're not putting all of their properties on any one aggregator site at the same time. So if you see some properties with one agency that you like the look of on the aggregator site, chances are, if you go onto that agency's own website, you'll find lots of options that aren't even on the aggregator site. And if you think about how many agencies there are in France and how many websites you might have to use to find something or to find the right thing for you, it's a lot of work. And what lots of people do, and this is something that I think often causes more overwhelm, is they're looking in a really wide area. Like, oh, I'm really open. I like this area, this area, this area. I'd be happy in any of those. And such a wide variety of properties. And it can just throw up so many options that it's really easy to be overwhelmed. There's too much. And if you are looking at so many options, lots of them instantly won't grab you. And you can be just going through pages and pages of options and not finding anything, not finding what you're looking for. In fact, I had somebody this week, an American buyer, filled out the form on our website where you can apply for free help, and they were exactly in this position, and they described what they were looking for in the form, and I suggested 2 or 3 things they could do to really come up with actually less options. Because sometimes if you're overwhelmed with all those options, there are some specific techniques you can use to reduce the number of options right down. Maybe it gives you a better idea of exactly what you're looking for, and then you can widen out bit by bit if you're not finding enough of the right thing. So one piece of advice I would say is try and be much more specific. Try and define exactly what you're looking for. You can always change it if it turns out that when you look for it, you can't find it, it's not in your budget, you might need to change it. But it can be much easier if you're feeling overwhelmed with all the options and all the different sites. Just write down what you're really looking for. Try and define some search criteria that work in the different websites that might fit that, and then widen it out as you need to. But that's how it works. Even if you pay for a buyer agent, the likelihood is they're going to send you lots of options as well that aren't right. If you're having such a wide criteria, they're not going to know exactly what you want unless you've been more specific with them. So, even if you hire somebody at extra cost, it doesn't necessarily fix the problem if you haven't defined what you really want out of your French adventure. There's loads of information for free on our website. There's a complete program to guide you through everything you can sign up for. There's an online course just about how to search because it's so different. You can sign up for a 1-hour consulting call, and there are new memberships that have just started. I've been exactly where you are right now, staring at French property listings late at night, wondering if those stone walls and sunny terraces could ever actually be yours, feeling that mix of excitement and absolute terror about what it would take to make it happen. Here's what I discovered after years of helping Americans just like you. The number one difference between those who only dream about owning a property in France and those who actually get the keys isn't money, connections, or luck. It's having the right community and expert guidance. For years, I've watched incredible people put their French property dreams on permanent hold because they tried to navigate this complex journey alone, spending countless hours on confusing Google searches, mistranslating critical documents, and making expensive mistakes that could have been completely avoided. That stops today, because right now I'm swinging open the doors to our premium membership community that's about to transform your entire French property journey. Introducing Focus Mastery, your all-access pass to the expertise, community, and shortcuts that turn French property dreamers into French property owners. Here's what you'll get immediately after joining. Multiple topic-specific community boards. Get focused answers for every stage of your journey, not just one overwhelming general forum. Monthly group live Q&A calls. Get your specific questions answered directly by me during an exclusive 1-hour group Zoom session. Exclusive access to our premium course lessons. Skip the waiting and dive into our most transformative paid content. Insider chapters from our paid guides. Access the exact framework successful buyers use to navigate the French system. 20% discount on everything we offer. Our complete program, consulting calls, guides, courses at member-only pricing. But here's the real truth about what you're getting. The most valuable asset you'll receive isn't even on that list. It's the unshakable confidence that comes from knowing you're making this journey with expert guidance every step of the way, to waking up each morning with crystal clarity about your next move. It's the peace of mind that comes from knowing you're not making rookie mistakes that could cost you your dream property. Because when you have the right community supporting you, your French property success isn't a question of if, it's simply a matter of when and where. Warning though, limited availability. The Focus Mastery memberships are intentionally limited to ensure that the groups don't get overwhelmed and that people can get personal attention they deserve. When we hit capacity, the doors will close until the next quarter, and I can't guarantee the price will stay the same. So here's your choice. Continue struggling alone, making the same costly mistakes that have derailed countless dreams before yours, or join our Focus Mastery community today and start taking confident steps towards the French property that's waiting for you. The investment in your dreams, just €25 per month. The doors are now open, but they won't stay that way for long. Thanks for listening today. Hope to see you on the next podcast.